Hello guys, and welcome back to Field of Glory Empires. It seems that in my last recording, I pretty much completed this turn entirely. It's been a couple weeks, so looks like we're ready to go into turn 63, the year 248 BC. Let's go ahead and end the turn and see what we get. I see we are going on the offensive here. We are getting into position so that, oh man, they both stopped in the same place at the same time. That's going to be fun on food. Thankfully, it's in our most well-established province that is formed. We're doing pretty well in terms of the culture decadence ranking, and our legacy points still doing very well. Only very obvious nations ahead of us like the Seleucids, Rome, and Macedonia. For how tiny we are, I'm really amazed that we're doing as well as we are. Looks like we finished a training ground here. Yeah, I think just because it was free and it came with, I think XP and stuff. It was pretty simple to get. So it was obvious because, yeah, it didn't take a slot. That was another big thing. It didn't take a slot. This monument also doesn't take a slot. It increases decadence, which isn't exceptionally problematic to me currently. So I wouldn't mind getting a monument. There's other things that, honestly, I would like more, but absolutely none of those things are here. But with this decadence increase also comes culture anyway. It's in a well-established province. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get that. There's a new population in the region of Badeo. Food is doing fine. Infrastructure seems to be the most lacking thing here, though even that, don't know if that's really important considering it's in this well-established province. But yeah, I'll move it down. It's a Semitic one, I see. There's very few desertics, but I see there is some amount of conversion going on here. Unrest of 5, unrest of 6. Man, no wonder they're kind of disloyal here. The population is not desertic. They're not, so they're almost as unhappy as slaves are. Ooh, slaves of a different culture get even less happy. I see. We could build something here. The population has unlocked a new building slot, a gladiator school. I have never seen this. Wow. So the revolt risk goes up by 15%, but there's a loyalty bonus of 16 from something called Men Against Wild Beasts. You get a decadence increase. You do get a garrison. You need to have at least 4 population to get this. This is interesting, and it requires weapons, which I don't technically produce. That is a very interesting... Costs a lot of money. If we do have wild beasts as a resource, then we can save on manpower as well as on money. That's an interesting thing to look towards in the future. I'm not so sure about right now, though. I feel like none of these options are actually particularly amazing right now. So I'm going to go with the herbalist to get some health and manpower, health bonus. 1 turn, it's going to fill up that slot real quick. We have some land expansions going on, I know that. We finished a palisade down here. Always nice to have walls everywhere you can. Sometimes, in some places, the palisade is just the best thing we can get. Free infrastructure added from a wealthy citizen is always nice. A lot of these buildings are going to be taking a while. A lot of things going into food. We do need food. We do have a lot more potential growth upcoming due to all this new population growing in these otherwise backwards regions. Move some guys over to infrastructure where we can in this region so that we can get building faster. Some of these still under pacification, just like up here, still under pacification. And population spread out about as well as we can hope to get it. We don't have anything else anywhere else. At this point now, our peace treaty duration 0. Oh, it goes down to 0. I did not realize that. Well, next turn we will be ready to go to war. That's fine because we weren't in place anyway. It is hilarious to see that what was their capital granted citizenship to some foreigners. This was their capital. Yeah, dude. I think this was at first. At some point, maybe. And then, like, this is completely owned by rebels, and they don't appear to be getting it back anytime too quickly, which is quite interesting. That means I could just step on here if I wanted to. But it does have 18 units for defense. That is quite terrifying. It is quite terrifying. Arabia itself is still a better target. Hopefully, these rebels do not bother me. My newer army that is laden with war elephants is the one headed over that way, and we did get a new regular infantry ready for it. Don't think we need to build anything else currently right now. Apparently, my manpower generation is going up and up and up. Probably all of these, you know, populations getting built and whatnot are adding up, meaning as this income goes up, we could start considering another army, better units, more units, supply, maybe not more units. Honestly, even now, our biggest limiter in terms of what we can make is metal. There are some events occasionally where I can use money to just acquire massive amounts of metal. It's right here. I could buy 309 metal for 2,000 money. That's a lot of money. It's also a lot of metal and could allow me to expand armies to have metal using units a bit better. But, ooh, you know, it's rough. I'll spend some of it. Some of this is like manpower usage, right? I'm gonna recruit 4 Arabian Cameliers, kind of prepping for a new army, or maybe to replace normal Cameliers at some point if they die during the war, question mark, I don't really know. It's gonna consume some metal, it's gonna consume some manpower, some money, stuff like that. Certainly we could do that. Money is one of these things that we just have so much of. I would buy more slaves, but I don't think we have enough normal citizens to really sustain them, because slaves generate a lot of disloyalty that we have to be concerned with. I can buy a fuck ton of manpower just as easily as I can buy a fuck ton of metal here. 2,000. You get more in terms of total manpower. It's like twice the amount as you would get of metal. I guess that makes sense. Also, very interesting is this is a like brand new nation that's just come out of nowhere. I guess out of Egypt maybe or whatever. I don't remember this being here. So this seems pretty new. It's got a tribal council. It's a tribal location. Settled oasis. I think it just like was some barbarians that turned into a nation. That happens sometimes. Like up here. That has happened. So, as a brand new nation here, they have a semi-decent opinion of me. And they're kind of in range. I mean, they do count as distant. But I'll just offer them some cooperation. 16% chance to go through. Propose the treaty. See if we might become friends, potentially. Ethiopia doesn't mind them. So, I don't see why not. So I actually just had to reload an autosave because I kind of stumbled into something that I still don't really understand. Because I can't find anything about it anywhere. But I learned that our metal cap is 480. So, you know, attempting to buy any, because I did try to buy some, would not actually really be worth it. I don't understand. It says part of it comes from your military expertise, but it's not listed the total anywhere until you go over the cap. So right now, due to bonuses from our size and everything, we can buy 309 metal at once, but that's most of our cap. So that's, it's just so weird. That's more of like an emergency decision. I was hoping to stockpile it quite heavily, but it doesn't say anything about what the max is anywhere, which is so annoying. I did go ahead and hit end turn. We've moved over into being a glorious empire. Only the usual expected guys ahead of us overall. Our peace treaty with Arabia has ended as expected. We are now the glorious empire, which is, gonna be quite interesting, that's for sure. So, yep, glorious empire, and when you become a glorious empire, or maybe it's like one more, you can get the Empire Golden Age, which increases your decadence gain in general, but reduces it from conquest. It gives you bonuses to culture and to taxation. Now that we are a glorious nation, we are getting decadence kind of debuffs again. So that's something to be concerned about. Legacy gain is increased as well, so that's going to help us if it's increased by however much that was, 35%. That will potentially, you know, lead us to being the top. Right now we're rank 2 apparently, or we're set to be. Well, no, we're rank 2 in income. Well, that's good for sustainability. Only Macedonia is ahead of us. Being a glorious empire is definitely one of the ways to get this stuff coming in really, really quickly. Manatee over here was raided by Saba. There wasn't really much we could do about it. It's on the border. We just took it over. And there's no walls. There's no anything. Our leader's health is degraded to very poor. We have the 5 progress tokens, except now we actually have 0 because now we have to worry about all this again. But I don't think that there's any issues right now. And for whatever reason, here's our look at our metal cap. We're actually over our metal cap again. Look at that. 390. It's actually gone down. I don't understand what affects this, but we're over our metal cap, and our metal production looks good even after making the Saba, the new Saba army here with the Cameliers. So the way this works is when you go over a maximum, then what happens is you lose a quarter of it, the excess, a quarter of the excess. We have like 30 excess. We're going to lose a quarter of this every turn is what's going to happen. I'm surprised we have so much. Something must have finished that added some somewhere. This herbalist is done. Worship Palace is done. Can't build any more there. Oh my, there's a lot of things here, but none of them are like buildings finishing or anything. And we know already that due to the insane amount of infrastructure located in these regions, min-maxing what goes in these places is not always the most important. Not in that province, at least. A new population has grown here. Yeah, there's been a lot of growth over there. We are sharing food. Probably leave that guy on food. That place is still under pacification. We have our 2 armies here. We can merge that into there. There you go. Replacing that with the regular infantry. It's now 20 and 20. I'll move this army down to the capital. I would like to move it down to the capital. Oh, I see. I can't move it down to the capital because the desert is currently scorched. So we can't move through it right now. How does that affect this? We just cannot complete that movement right now because the desert is scorched. So we're kind of just stuck, as are, you know, our potential enemies as well. We definitely have enough food in this region to not have to worry, I would guess, I would assume. I could put another guy up here as well on the food just to get a little bit more. We don't need to prioritize infrastructure too much, mainly in the capital due to the dam. And then the rest of it can just kind of go into different locations, into food in general. I have this habit apparently of having like 3 dudes on infrastructure. Otherwise, I think it really just depends on the location. There's a number of things building, but overall, I think food is the main thing that we lack. So I'm going to move 2 more pops from different locations, not the capital, into food just to help sustain this army. This army, sustaining it is going to be quite interesting. Because, you know, this region is still kind of building up. It's still in its infancy, and they just cannot move right now. And these guys aren't much better off. So they're just going to have to chill out, consuming stuff as well. And I can go ahead and continue to recruit a new army. Or, you know, I could even recruit a navy. I haven't seen the need for a navy yet. I've just seen the need for more armies. Maybe at some point we'll need a navy, but I don't think that point is right now. 3 is kind of roughly enough to maintain a pretty good front. 2 is definitely a requirement. I don't know that I would really need any more after that, but surely we can look at recruiting. Now, we know that we would need, say, skirmishers, for example, but those don't cost any metal, not even to make. Maybe I want to make things that cost metal at least to make, right? And so there's heavy consumption from things like heavy infantry. There is also the heavy cavalry, which consumes less, and we looked at it. It's kind of like a competitor to frontline infantry in general, but it doesn't have any siege value, which is a problem. We need siege value for these armies right now. This would consume quite a lot of metal without actually adding much to the without affecting the income. So if I built 6 of these, we'd get almost down to the bare minimum here of the cap. So that would be neat. We'd still be over, however. And these Cameliers clearly aren't enough. We need to, I guess, get into a little bit of a deficit. Our production of metal is going to keep going up. I know I was building some things somewhere to help with that. Getting, say, 2 heavy infantry built as well would certainly get this number to be, wouldn't be sustainable. But this would be the rest of, a lot of the rest of an army. However, that would put my manpower generation completely into, well, my total standing manpower, actually, completely into the shitter. And it's +4 for each of these 6. That's still sustainable. So manpower is more of the concern right now, in fact. But I don't even know if buying it has a point, because we have so many bonuses, but we're so tiny that it just doesn't really matter. I could, say, purchase 4 of these only, right? Since manpower is what's strained, and just get 2 heavy infantry early. I could do that. And then we'd still have manpower left over. We would consume more metal, so we wouldn't be over the cap. And it would kind of solve multiple things at once. At some point, I need to get a navy up. We can get normal warships up now. They cost metal, however. Slightly more manpower, they do cost metal. Slightly more money, I don't really care about money. Heavy ones are also slightly more manpower, much more in the way of metal, and notably expensive. But every one of these ships that you go up, the actual power of it goes up dramatically. Like the attack, the defense, the amount of hits, and just the combat value of it overall. It is quite crazy. One thing that doesn't scale as much, I think, is ranged attack and ranged defense. It goes up only slightly between light to normal, but then it jumps up a lot when you get over to heavy warships. And these also use food. I wonder how that works with coastal waters being a thing. Not sure. We can't make, you know, it's funny, metal aside, heavy warships would actually be super sustainable for us, because what do we have a fuck ton of? Money. I don't know. Let's go ahead and hit end turn. We've kind of solved that manpower problem. Ethiopia has been pushing into Nubia, getting revenge for that last war. Cutting off maybe Egypt? No, not actually. Almost cutting off Egypt at this rate, because Nubia is also at war with Egypt. And oh my good gosh, yeah, now that we're a glorious empire, our culture decadence ratings are a lot worse. So we went down in the ranking quite a bit, but we are still in the green zone, and that's where we want to be. That's the good point to be in. And food and water, corn and health regulation. Food and water for the population. Yeah, this is to get bonuses to either health. I forget if I've done these before. Okay, well, I see. Yeah, it can kind of grow pops. It can get loyalty. And it can help with other things as well. I'm just going to take the free 5% health bonus for 20 turns. It's completely free. If I have a health bonus there, I'll just take that. Seize commerce lightships, gaining some naval power rapidly. Interesting. I've never seen this one before. 8 lightships will be seized, and a moderate indemnity will be given to the former owners. 375 money to just suddenly get 8 ships. 8 will be seized. Owners will complain and probably create trouble. Each harbor has a 35% chance of receiving a loyalty penalty. Seize light and medium ships and pay an indemnity, 750 money. And seize and pay nothing, and then 50% chance. This is honestly not a terrible event. Right here, yeah, I mean, that's not a terrible event. It's mostly taking the cost of these things and putting it into money. Because it's 375, but, you know, 20 times 8 is not 375. You lose that initial manpower cost you would need in any equipment. And then same thing over here with initial metal costs. It's turning money into things that you would otherwise also pay other resources for. Unfortunately, these guys over here didn't accept my offer for cooperation. That's just how it goes in this game. But I can try again. This time it's a 20% chance. That's nice. I don't know why. But that's good. Sure. Yeah, I'll go for that. The desert is no longer scorched, so that's good. There's a new general available to serve me. I think it was like... It was not that one, but there's a couple of new generals available to serve me. I think it's because our new status. I think it's because of our new status here. Manpower, bankrupt, because we use so much. Yeah, our glorious status, I think, was a big part of that. Yeah, we don't have that special modifier at the moment. DeWheat's gonna die soon. DeWheat's gonna die. But Oxel, Silax, these are all new. They have different things. Defense penalty, I don't really like. I don't want a really old guy for a brand new army, but either the 24 or 17-year-old seems very nice. What do the other generals look like? A 29-year-old and a 28-year-old. Yeah, I mean, those are pretty good. Oxel's no better than Silax. So let's get Silax. He's 17. He could just settle into his role pretty nicely. And so we have... Oh, I made a mistake. I accidentally recruited 3 heavy infantry. Whoops. Well, I know how to fix this. We don't have 2 heavy infantry on this stack yet. So what I can do is split selected units into a new group. Take out these warriors. And then have them go merge with that army. And then take one of these. And have him go merge into... guess, like this army. Targeting that. So, yeah, that'll fix that. Because this only had the 1 heavy infantry still from like the beginning of the game. And we still had the warriors. So I'll just split those guys up. Move them around a little bit. And then that should be fine. I didn't realize I accidentally made 3. That was a mistake. Oh well, but it's not a terrible mistake. And even then I could have thrown some into this stack, though that's not exactly what I'd want to do. So yeah, we got those generals. Metal is slightly negative now, but that's not terrible given the situation. We do need more manpower, but metal is under control now, so it's fine. We need to get those Cameliers over here as well into the Saba army. Into this Saba army. I hope you're targeting the right place. I don't know if you are. I'm just going to send you, like, shit, I don't know. Just down there in general. I'm not entirely sure where all these are going. I'll just tell you guys to come down here in general and hope that is enough. Because I don't want them to go into this other Saba army. I have many Saba armies. I should probably name them. Alright, so I'm going to name our original army literally just original. This one will be named after, like, the province Arabia Orientalis, even though it's using special units from here, because that's kind of where that was kind of based out of to go. I'm gonna name that Arabia Orientalis, and now this new one could be equal. Well, you know, let's name it like this. So this will be Arabia Felix, and then the new one using that new type of unit will be Arabia Orientalis. There you go. That'll help me keep track of things a little bit better, I hope. Oh, construction is proceeding. Looks like we finished a shepherd house here. We finally have some nice food income here, and now we can build one of many other things, including a palisade, which would be quite useful on the border. And only 3 turns? Yeah, dude, give me a palisade on the border. That shit is good. We finished a fortune teller here, but there's no room for anything else. We don't need to acquire any rapid naval power. Only if we start, like, I don't know when we would actually, if we were in the Mediterranean, we'd need it more. If we were up here, we might need it more. I could see the purpose of having it, but I'm doing everything by land. So we're going to focus big land military first. We got a new population down here. Does not open up any new building slots, but we are working on a noble district, which is going to take quite a while, as is already anyway. And then these buildings are still going very slow because this is still a brand new zone. We're still not quite on the border yet, so I don't see a point to actually declaring war. This will now defend with 20 units. Absolutely terrifying, by the way. It shouldn't have any special units, but like this is 20 units right here. If this, whatever is here, oh gosh, if that has any notable amount of units defending it, it would be quite scary. It would be quite scary indeed. Now, one thing that could end up being problematic on the border here is food. Food could be a problem the moment I step up for the war, but that's not something I need to worry about right now. That's like a next turn problem, pretty much. And then these wars don't really affect me too much right now. The world is looking bigger. Blobs are getting blobbier, and some blobs are even falling apart. Well, small nations are becoming blobbier, I guess. And originally, big blobs falling apart, for sure. Let's go ahead, and I think we're good to hit end turn now. Let our units move, moving into the year 245 BC. We got some movements over there. Ethiopia and Nubia fighting. Looks like Ethiopia's kicking some ass. That's nice for them. I'm glad. Allying them might have been a good idea. Now they're getting some nice revenge. I got a progress token. Ooh. Gold name Glorious Empire. I think that means Macedonia just got that bonus. That's going to skyrocket them in a lot of ways. It's funny, Macedonia is kind of, in terms of like winning, doing the best. Gather mercenaries. I've tested that. That's a terrible event. It doesn't summon mercenaries at all. It summons normal units. But yeah, Macedonia is doing really well for itself. It's quite funny. Very different from Imperator Rome. Despite local defenders, Catane was raided. They're raiding the fuck out of us. There's not a lot I can do about it except have defenses. But, you know, that's easier said than done. Nice, so we're still following over here. And that is just the one that I sent, the heavy infantry. That's pretty nice. Not a lot over here. There's like no actual troops defending or anything. Look at the provinces overlay here. This is all kind of... Well, if you include these, it's like a big province with the Seleucids. Bordering the Seleucids is going to be terrifying, though, because certainly they would be a scary neighbor to have. They are in a lot of wars, though, with Arachosia, Atropatene, Maria, Saka. Maria is probably the scariest one for them. Arachosia also is getting bigger. Funny. Our new health regulations are in. That was just an event. Nothing particularly important. None of these decisions matter to me. I got the one progress token. That is nice. Otherwise, we are doing very well. There's a new population in the region of Saba. That's nice, but, you know, we're already building there anyway. We have a lot of slots from land expansion and whatnot. And thanks to our admirable healthcare, we got another population over here, which I think opened up a new building slot. Doesn't look like we were building anything over there at the moment anyway. The options here are interesting, but I think what I'll go for is the clay pit to get some more passive infrastructure generation here. We don't have a lot. We have the tracks required from the public works to actually get it in there. That means less population needed for any maintenance. I'd like to keep it at maintenance, you know. And 3 infrastructure, 3 money will produce some stone. Can already be imported from Saba, but, you know, more isn't necessarily bad. I'll take more in some instances. A new population over here due to admirable healthcare opens up another slot. That's where we were putting the monument, so that's pretty nice. A palisade was successfully built in our more newly settled regions, and I can get something else building. Not sure what exactly. A crafter district has popped up, which would consume no slots and generate money, but money is not what I need. I have tons of money. I need health. I need food, and I could also use manpower as well. Getting health here would certainly be pretty easy, and that would help as a little multiplier. 6 turns. Currently, I would like that, and we have 3 available slots. Let's go ahead and add that to the pile. That could be pretty useful. Otherwise, everything here looks pretty good. This, what is this right here? Rumors are the northern Black Seas are subject to piracy. New pirate fleet. Uh-oh. I still don't really know what these pirate fleets are, but they're probably bad, and they probably raid you from the seas, where, you know, you'll then need defenses to defend against them, and maybe even a navy. Isn't that funny? I have enough manpower to recruit 2 more regular infantry. That's all we need to get that front line of 8 and the cavalry up. We'll still need skirmishers. That's mostly manpower heavy. I'm going to let that come in naturally over time. Not going to spend any money on it or anything, you know, other than just building dedicated buildings for that. These guys are getting up to stuff. We could potentially declare war this turn, kind of get into position. Otherwise, we do have that capability. We have that capacity. Ooh, since we were raided, we need to move more to food over here. Yeah. It would be rough, the food, no matter what or how we do it. It would be rough. No matter where we went. Probably here would be the best spot with, like, food. Just all in on food right there. Because these guys have a food consumption of 17 right now. That is quite a bit, and more than this place makes, so it would have to be like an in and then go right through. So we might declare war, but I'll figure that out in the next episode. We're out of time for today. So, for now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.